Hello, my name is Matt and this is Pixel Burn, where I take a look at some of the more important, interesting or irritating things to have happened in the week's gaming news, which wasn't much admittedly, apart from Dragon Age Inquisition being released. Yes, the third instalment of BioWare's blood-drenched dark fantasy romp is now out and has already secured its cold, hard grip on the hearts, minds and free time of fans damn near everywhere. Damn near everywhere that is, except India, where EA has withdrawn the game from sale in order to, and I quote, avoid a breach of local content laws, specifically a law forbidding hot, sweaty, sexy time between two consenting adults of the same gender.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
The law in question is Chapter 16, Section 377 of the Indian Penal Code, which was reinstated in December last year. I say reinstated because the original law itself was actually first enacted in 1861, during the British occupation of India. Sorry. The possible point of legal contention in Dragon Age Inquisition stems from two romanceable party member characters, Dorian the Mage and Sarah the Elf Rogue. Unlike party members in Dragon Age 2 who are nearly all bisexual, Dorian and Sarah are both a solid unyielding 6 on the Kinsey scale. That's exclusively homosexual in case you didn't know, so no moustache rides for the ladies here. I am a terrible person. Yet, if you live in India, you can still buy Mass Effect 3, which features a character called Steve Cortez, an accomplished shuttle pilot who happens to be gay, and is romanceable if you're playing as a male Commander Shepard. Similarly, you can still buy Dragon Age 2, in which your protagonist, Hawk, can get his or her freak on with up to 4 party members, 2 men and 2 women, regardless of gender. In theory, you should also be able to buy Dragon Age Inquisition because the game hasn't officially been banned. As far as anyone's aware, nobody from the Indian Home Ministry has even laid eyes on the game. It was entirely EA's decision to withdraw Dragon Age Inquisition from sale, and only to preempt a law written before the bloody light bulb had even been invented. Which still hasn't stopped various sites and YouTubers reporting that the game has been banned, of course, because why bother researching something when you can simply peddle clickbait and fucking lies instead? Even if EA were playing it safe like they claim, there's no guarantee this piece of anti-gay legislation would even be enforced against Dragon Age Inquisition. Much of India's laws are pretty vague and highly contextual. The letter of this particular law only refers to hot gay sex between actual flesh and blood people, and the characters in Dragon Age aren't real in any physical sense, no matter how badly some fans may wish otherwise. Consider also that EA hasn't withdrawn Dragon Age Inquisition from sale in Russia, which has far more stringent and specific anti-gay legislation than India does, and where you can still buy The Sims 4, a game with far greater potential for sapphic shenanigans, which the Kremlin outright condemned as harmful to Russian youth and slapped an 18+ age rating on. So why then do we have this pervasive narrative about India banning the game, even though it hasn't actually been banned and there's very little chance it actually would have? Well, it's publicity, innit? Despite the Kremlin's hard-on for harassing homosexuals, EA would never consider withdrawing a game from sale in Russia because it's one of the world's largest markets for video games. Revenue from games in Russia last year was a whopping $1.5 billion, accounting for around 7.5% of game sales in the European market. Which isn't bad going for a country where supposedly 75% of people pirate their games. Conversely, India is considered somewhat small fry, contributing only $376 million in games revenue in 2013 and accounting for only 1% of the global market. Like Russia, it also has a rather high rate of video game piracy. So high in fact that EA actually stopped selling physical boxed copies of PC games there this year. Sadly, the most likely actual explanation for this decision is that EA decided India wasn't economically viable enough, but they also saw an opportunity for some positive press. So EA now gets to spin this story into some patronising publicity about how Dragon Age Inquisition is too progressive for India, while gaming news sites rake in the views with clickbait horseshit about the game being banned. All at the expense of India's small yet passionate and growing gaming community, who are smart enough to have ways and means around this. Like they have any fucking choice in the matter. Speaking of publicity, Activision are reportedly clamping down on what they perceive as negative publicity about Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, specifically any YouTube videos demonstrating glitches or exploits in the game. A warning went out to members of the Machinima network this week that Activision were being particularly vigilant and issuing copyright strikes against channels with videos showing off Advanced Warfare glitches. That's actual full-blown getting your channel shut down kind of stuff, by the way, and not mere content ID matches, which are annoying but tolerable. Where the fuck do I even begin with this shit? Now, if the videos Activision were issuing strikes against showed the entire game, cutscenes and all, without any commentary, then I could understand. I disagree with it, but I could understand. It's not like Call of Duty has the same kind of variance and range of choices as, say, The Walking Dead does. Single player Call of Duty is so bloody linear that any jokes I could make about railroads were shipped off to the knackers yard eons ago and broken down into scrap. In this instance, however, it's entirely about glitches regarding maps in multiplayer, a more fluid and dynamic experience where no two games are ever exactly the same. While a glitch can be fun in a single player game, in multiplayer it can mean all the difference between enjoying yourself and screaming the walls down. Some people have actually been defending this, saying people will use these glitches to get an unfair advantage in online multiplayer and ruin the game for the honest, virtuous few. To which I say, maybe Activision should fix their fucking game then. Videos of glitches fall well within the purview of fair use for purposes of criticism. Advanced Warfare is a consumer product, and if that product does not work properly, people are well within their rights to demonstrate how and why it does not work properly. They're effectively doing post-launch quality assurance entirely for free, and video evidence can illustrate these sorts of bugs far better than a checklist on a piece of paper ever could. Instead of using these vids as input for ongoing QA and balancing, however, Activision have gone all totalitarian on people's asses, actively punishing folks for pointing out flaws in their product. But then this is Activision, of course. If they could get away with it, they'd charge you $10 just to look at the fucking box. Surely, even if they weren't willing to spend money putting out hotfixes for the most disruptive glitches, at the very least they could add it to the queue of things to fix in the next big update. Punishing people for simply pointing out flaws in your game is petty and ridiculous, and seems a uniquely Activision thing to do. Even Ubisoft, still reeling from the bug-riddled launch of Assassin's Creed Unity, haven't gone so far as to flag YouTube videos of glitches for copyright violations. Oh sure, they tried to keep a lid on all the bugs, but at least they didn't flag YouTube channels with copyright strikes. Nor did 343 Industries with videos of Halo glitches. So yeah, it's no surprise Activision being a bunch of bullying, money-grabbing arseholes as per fucking usual. What is surprising, and really quite fucking sad, is people actively defending their behaviour instead of condemning it. People who should be screaming blue bloody murder for these glitches to be fixed, instead of condoning a PR censorship campaign in the hopes their corporate lords and masters will stop regarding them simply as ambulatory money dispensers and throw them a few scraps from the executive dining table. Spoiler alert, they won't. Aside from those two biggies, actual decent gaming news was pretty thin on the ground this week, by which I mean stuff that didn't come from a press release email with specific bullet points and suggested buzzwords. Like Blizzard giving World of Warcraft players in the US, Europe and Oceania, that's Australia and friends, 5 days worth of free game time by way of apology for them not being able to play the game for several days. In Blizzard's defence, not something I say all that often, it wasn't really their fault. All the launch preparations in the world don't mean squat in the face of things like a concerted DDoS attack on your game servers. Still, it's nice of Blizzard to do this for its players. Of which I am not one, because I shrugged off the World of Warcraft monkey back in 2010 and have been clean ever since. No. You can't take me back. I won't go back. You can't make me. No, you have no power over me. And finally, Telltale Games released a new trailer for episode 1 of its upcoming Game of Thrones adaptation, featuring the vocal talents of Lena Headey reprising her role as Cersei Lannister and rendered in a slight variation of Telltale's distinct visual style, and very much based on the TV series rather than the books, with some familiar faces like Sansa Stark, Tyrion Lannister and Ramsay Bolton all rendered to look like the actors who play them in the show. Familiar places like the Wall and King's Landing, complete with the Iron Throne forged from... Is that it? Yep, that's your lot until Telltale puts out a longer trailer, which shouldn't be too long now as the game is still scheduled for release this year. Winter is coming, etc, etc. That's all for this episode of Pixel Burn. Apologies for it being a tad on the short side this week, but real life intrudes as it always does. If you still liked it, however, then please do let me know, and let your friends, family and India's Ministry of Culture know as well. At the very least, I hope you found it tolerable. If you didn't like it, however, then, well, I'll just withdraw it from viewing in your territory. Then tell the rest of the world that you're not progressive enough to enjoy it. Until next time, you can go now.